Hey!
Welcome to the
Dear Retirement Podcast
show.
I'm excited about this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we've been talking about doing this for a while, and we are actually doing this.
Consider it done. Check. Dear Retirement Podcast Show, this is what we're going to do today, guys. We're going to be talking just a little bit about our background. We're going to talk about the fact that we have Medicare Annual Enrollment Period.
That's right.
Coming up.
Yes.
We have health insurance, Open Enrollment Period coming up, and we're just going to wherever the wind takes us, we're going to go. And then, in the future, we'll probably be a little bit more regimented, but,
It's wherever the wind takes us.
That's what we're doing today. So, my name's Ernest Mitchell, and this is my beautiful wife. You're supposed to say your name.
Oh, my name is Lauren Mitchell. I thought you were going to introduce me.
So, Lauren, how long have you been in the insurance world space? Yeah, because it's a space.
Licensed since 2012, but prior to that, I was always working with you in the back office doing things to help you be successful, and that was from 2008 to 2012.
Aren't you lucky?
Mm-hmm.
You got to work in the back office. Not a lot of people get to learn. I feel like one of the things that's unique about us is that we just figured it out on our own in a lot of ways. We just had like a living on a prayer. How does that go? Living on something in a prayer.
It's living on a prayer.
Are you talking about Bon Jovi?
Like Bon Jovi?
Yeah, I'm halfway there.
Okay.
Yeah, because we had to figure it out. We went out there and we just, and I think the thing about us is we always were able to get good connections with our clients and earn that trust and develop relationships. I think that helped us out a lot.
That's true. Well, now how long have you been in this? Because you were doing insurance when I met you 14 years ago. Yes, 14 years ago.
Yeah, I was literally just telling a person that we were thinking about hiring a little bit of my story, my background, but I do have an engineering degree or engineering background. I graduated with an engineering degree, and I started selling health insurance after I got laid off in 2002, and I did that for about 4 or 5 years, and I was a captive agent. And after that, I went to corporate America, and then I was just trying to figure out a way to provide with no one to help me. I was strictly independent, and I don't think a lot of people understand what that's like. So there was no one training me. It was just basically like calling from the white pages and reach people and start to figure out how to sell a product to somebody and with no training. And I started off selling life insurance in 2011, like final expense life insurance. And then I think around 2012 or so, we finally started to we sold our first Medicare policy together. Is that our first annual enrollment period, 2012?
No.
2011?
It was before that. I think it was around like 9 or 10.
Oh.
Yeah, it was before that.
Okay.
It was definitely before kids.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
I remember our first year when we were at this restaurant and we had like 65 applications.
Yeah, so the power had gone out.
And we had to get them all in by midnight.
Yeah, the power had gone out in our whole neighborhood. So the entire neighborhood was just dark. And there was a deadline, and so we went to a restaurant down the road that still had power, and we sat there at a table with these applications spread out and like just going through them. He took half, I took half, and we had to get them in. But
this was our first that was annual,
like 2009.
Yeah, AEP. Yep, and the good days, right? So it's AEP. What's going on this year?
Well, what is AEP? What does that mean?
I wonder what that means. No, it stands for Annual Enrollment Period, and this is the time, if you're a Medicare beneficiary, to where you can change your Medicare Advantage plan. If you have a Medicare Advantage plan or a Medicare Supplement plan, you can change your prescription plan. So if your doctor gave you a new prescription throughout the year, you can change your prescription plan to make sure that you're maximizing and keeping your costs low for the rest of the year, which would be 2023.
So the plans that are selected during the annual enrollment period don't go into effect until January 1st of 2023. But it's just a great time to compare your options and see, is the plan I'm in now currently, is that still going to meet all of my needs, or is there something else that has come onto the market? And the dates for annual enrollment period are October 15th through December 7th. So it's just that short time frame, just those few weeks, and it flies by. And then your plan would start January 1st.
Did you ever see that? So I'm originally from North Carolina. Did you ever see that movie with Will Ferrell?
Just that one movie with Will Ferrell?
So it was
Just the one.
It was a NASCAR movie.
Oh, not
Talladega
not
Nights.
Yeah,
Talladega Nights.
You remember the movie where he's like, I don't know what to do with my hands.
Is that how you feel right now?
He would sit there like talking to the mic, like doing his hands like. No, so I don't know what to do with my hands, but I'm doing the best I can. I'm just, I'm a hand talker, but
You're doing great.
I've been told not to move my hands too much.
You could sit on them, Just
Oh, that would be even
weird.
weirder. Yeah. Okay, so there's also, which is coming up, just so you know, so the name of our organization is Dear Retirement. We deal with Medicare, health insurance, life insurance, and retirement planning. So we're going to discuss a little bit about what we do and just like an overview, a bird's eye view. But there's also health insurance open enrollment coming up. Mm-hmm. And what's unique about health insurance? I do have an extensive background in it.
What's unique about just health insurance?
Yeah, like this year as opposed to any year, or what do you think that people need to know about health insurance?
Well, for the Affordable Care Act, I think one thing that's important to remember with that is that pre-existing conditions don't matter, that they're going to accept you regardless of what your health history says. You're going to be approved. So annual enrollment or open enrollment period for health insurance begins on November 1st.
That's right.
I had to double check that.
I know, it's on the board.
So just a few short weeks away, and then again, your policy won't start until January 1st. But that's also a great time to compare what you currently have with what's out there, because these plans are currently, they're enhancing them and building them right now. So we'll find out in about a week or two what that's going to look like for 2023. But it is always a good idea to compare and shop around.
And just to piggyback on what Lauren's talking about, there's 4 to 5 different solutions that people have options for when it comes to health insurance. So you have the Affordable Care Act, mm-hmm. which you just talked about. You also have Christian share plans, which it's where you have to say you're a Christian, and a group will pool their money together so that you guys help each other pay each other's bills. Mm-hmm. And we're a brokerage, so we want our clients to have what they want. Then there's also traditional major medical coverage, which is a really good fit for people that are middle to high income earners, and they are able to get a traditional major medical plan that has a deductible, have copays, even cover your prescriptions. But a major medical plan is really just a plan that doesn't have holes in it. So you'll have a $2,000 deductible, and you'll be covered up to $2 million. And then you also have what's called a fixed indemnity plan. And that's a program to where you can kind of piecemeal it together. So you might have a deductible of $1,000, and it might cover you up to, let's say, $26,000 per surgery. Covers you up to $16,000 for an assisted surgeon. And you just got to be careful, because there are people that sell those fixed indemnity plans as if they are major medical, and we've seen it time and time again. And that's where we really shine, mm-hmm. and is we really try to educate our clients or the people that we're spending time with, whether you do business with us or not. And we always tell people that even if you don't our lights went out, but that's okay. Even if you don't do business with us, do consider picking a broker. I had a very good friend call me last night because he just purchased a new house, and I referred him to somebody for homeowners insurance. We don't do that. And I only refer people that are actual brokers, because in his own words, he didn't want to just deal with State Farm. He didn't want to just deal with Allstate. He wanted to deal with somebody that was going to be able to put together several quotes. And that really gives you, as the consumer, the best option to win, because we want everybody to win.
So tell everyone a story, Ernest, a time when, how you helped someone either through health insurance or Medicare, just give an example. Not giving away names or anything, but just tell me a story, a client story.
I'll tell you a story?
Yeah, tell me a story.
Can I tell you a story? Okay, so we recently had a client that was in Mexico, and he's a really good client. He has multiple products. He also has a financial product with us, but he was in Mexico, and I think his appendix burst. And if I had an issue in Mexico too, 15 years ago, you have an option to go to a public hospital or a private hospital. Pick private. I went to a public hospital. No disrespect to the Mexican hospitals, but good God. So I immediately had them take me to a private hospital, but then you have to pay cash first. So I had to put it, and at that time I had to have my dad help me. But in his case, he put it all on a credit card, so that the bill was $28,000. Loaded up his credit card. And he's in a supplement plan G. So when he called the carrier, this was like right after the pandemic. When he called the carrier, the young lady that he was talking to told him that, I'm sorry, you're going to be fully responsible for the bill. So by the time, and he just said, this isn't what I was told. So by the time he called me, his blood pressure was really high. I calmed him.
He was a little upset.
Yeah, I calmed him down. I said, no. All right, let's do a 3-way phone call. So we happened to get that same young lady. And she was adamant. She said, I've been doing this for 4 years. You don't know what you're talking about. We're not covering that bill. And I said, I've been doing this for a lot longer than 4 years. I need to speak to your supervisor. And she said, well, they're going to tell you the same thing. Got the supervisor on the phone. And I'm not going to tell you the name of this carrier, but it's a major carrier. And it just goes back to training, and people that work for some of these carriers, they're paid hourly, and we're paid to master the information, and they're paid just to show up for work. So when I got the supervisor on the phone, very apologetic, said that we're just going to take this as a training issue with that young lady and let us know on the phone call that everything was going to be covered except the $233 deductible, which he was responsible for at that time. He was more than happy to pay the $233, knowing that he got the rest of the $28,000 bill covered. And that's an example of why you need a broker to work with, or at least a person that's independent of the company that you're buying the product from. Because I appreciate what I do, but I'm loyal to my clients. We've always said that. We're loyal to our clients.
Yeah,
So
I don't really care what company they go with, as long as it makes sense to them. I'd say that our loyalty lies with the client, not the company.
That's right.
So, yeah.
And these programs, a lot of these programs are federally regulated. So every Plan G does what a Plan G does. And that's have a $233 deductible. And then everything else for the rest of the year, no matter if you go to the hospital 100 times, the doctor 100 times, is covered. So you just pay 20% of the bill until you reach $233 out of pocket. And then for the rest of the year, everything else is covered at 100%. That's the strongest plan in America.
Yeah, it is. But now the deductible's changing for 2023.
What is
it going to be, Ernest? Pop quiz. Does Ernest know the Part B?
Of course
deductible?
I know what it is.
What is it?
It's
you tell me.
$164.90.
Nope, wrong. Deductible. What is it?
$226.
Okay. Now, what is the Part B premium? Part B premium for 2023.
Oh man, isn't it?
Somebody just said it.
164. So 9. Is it 160?
Yes.
Okay, 164.9.
Very good. So you've heard it around the office a little bit.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, those are the new.
Google's your friend too. Like if you're.
Yeah. But you don't have a computer right here. But those are the new Part B costs for 2023. So we actually saw a little bit of a reduction for the new year.
Yeah, so. No, that's good. I mean, my clients, everything's getting more expensive. So whenever we can, my hand too much. What do I do with my hands? I don't know. No, so for my clients, anytime that we can tell them that there's going to be a little bit of savings this year, I think they always appreciate it.
I think so, yeah.
Especially when you become
it was
a senior.
such a big jump from 2021 to 2022. Went from, what was it? I don't even remember. 200-something to 233. I don't remember that long ago. Was it 204 to 220, 233?
I remember when it was
like
97 one year.
To 170.
It was 97 or something like that one year.
The Part B deductible?
Wasn't it?
Wow.
Wasn't when we first started? I can't
Maybe
remember.
when you first started.
Yeah. Well, you kind of started in this Medicare world when I started. Pretty much.
Yeah, but I wasn't licensed in Medicare, so I started in health insurance first. Or not health insurance, sorry, that was you. I was doing life insurance only first because I failed the health portion. action. And I was pregnant too, so my time was limited.
No, you were just helping me back office, pretty much.
Well, when I got licensed, I was just doing life insurance initially.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So so we also talk to clients about retirement planning, and it's super important. And there's a lot of agents that have been in our industry that don't do this, but they're doing their clients a huge disservice, because there's some great programs and products out there that give people what I like to call guarantees. And if you go to I guess I can't do any name dropping, but there's many financial advisors out there that are going to put their clients in products to where they say that it's risk averse, and we have a story about this same scenario where it's not. And as the market's going up and down, we don't know if we're going to war. Your client who's a senior that doesn't have the time to be able to earn that money back that they lost is in a product that they don't want to be in, because they don't know about these other products that give amazing guarantees. So there's products right now that are giving you, and I think the one thing that I want to talk about too, because I understand financial planning, a lot of people don't explain like a fixed index annuity properly, whether it's the accumulation. They kind of convolute the accumulation side with the lifetime income rider side. And they're just two different products. They're two different vehicles with the same product, I guess would be a better way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it all comes down to understanding so that you can explain and educate the client, which is something that we do. We go from an educational standpoint, because if you look at, an annuity, you look at the paperwork, the illustration, there's just lots of different columns with lots of different figures. And if you don't understand what each column represents, it's very easy to misunderstand and then misrepresent that information to the client. So we take a lot of time we have to understand it first to be able to explain it.
Yeah, I think the longer that I've been in this space on the financial side, just like with a Medicare product, I want to know if that person's going to be a Medicare Advantage person or a Medicare Supplement person. And when it comes to an index annuity, it's just so important to make sure that you do a really good job with your fact checking and really understanding what that client wants to accomplish. So if they want a lifetime income rider, if when you're sitting down with them, you let them know that if you're a husband and wife, that right now you guys have Social Security, and when one of you passes, you're going to get the bigger, but you're going to lose that. So we can set up an annuity to act as the pension that you're going to lose, so that you don't lose that money.
Yep. I just talked to somebody last week, and she had a question about that. And she was like, no, when my husband passes away, don't I get both Social Security? I'm like, no, it doesn't
We'd
work
love to
that
give
way.
it to you, but that's not the way it works.
And she was like, well, what do you mean? Like, it was just like this huge question. You could almost see like a question mark above her head. Like, what do you mean I don't get both? Like, I was expecting that. So then we transitioned into talking about something that was going to give her more security in those years when something like that happens. So
yeah, and there's no reason that you can't do multiple solutions. So you take care of the pension. We could do something with the accumulation. We could do something with legacy planning. So it's really just about making sure I ask the questions and figuring out what each client wants to accomplish. But I will say this though, there's some amazing products, and by nature, a fixed index annuity is a product to where you can't lose your principal. So as the market goes up, sometimes you do have to give up some points or a spread. Spread would be if the market goes up to 14% and you're using the accumulation vehicle, or because your money's not in the market, it's just mirroring the market. So let's say you're using the accumulation strategy of the S&P 500, and the S&P, for whether you're doing a month to month or for the year, goes up 14 points. You might have to give up 2 points on the top end, but you're never going to go down negative. So if the market goes down negative for that year, you just stay right where you are. And that's so much for my clients that want to be able to have a good night's sleep. They really like that.
they do, yeah, because you don't like you said earlier. We have more time to build back up if we lose something, but someone who is 72 doesn't have those years to rebuild something that's lost if the market takes a huge drop.
Yeah,
And
so
we've seen that before with people.
yeah, for that year, the worst case scenario, if the market takes a huge drop and the strategy that they picked was the S&P 500, you have multiple strategies that you can pick. For the worst case scenario for that year is that your money stays still, does nothing, just stays still. And then when we do a scenario, we just talk about how if you're in a strategy to where you lose 20%, let's say you have 100,000, you're down to 80,000, you have less money to get back above 80 to get back above 100,000. So it's a great product for seniors, and let's keep it moving.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. Let's talk a little bit about dental, vision, and hearing. Let's do
That
that.
is some exciting talk.
Woo-hoo-wee. No, we love it. We love it.
So, Medicare, interesting fact here, Medicare does not cover dental, vision, or hearing. Does not make sense to me. I don't make those rules. I just explain. So yes, it does not cover those three. However, we do have plans that cover those three services, and we combine them lots of times. So it's one policy that covers all three of those benefits. Now, if you're not on Medicare, we have plans for that too. And health insurance in general just does not cover dental, vision, or hearing most of the time.
Yeah, and I think if you just want dental, we'd probably just look at a dental plan. But if you know that you're using dental, vision, and hearing, or maybe even just dental and vision, it might be in your best interest to look at a DVH plan, to where they just allocate you an amount for the year, and you can use it for whatever you need. And
the premiums are a lot lower when you combine into a combination plan like that. So to a bundle, I guess is the proper word.
And I think just the only other thing that we would recommend on the DVH, dental, vision, and hearing, anything in that realm, is that you always look at a PPO, a preferred provider organization, that gives you the ability to go in and out of network. You never want to deal with I never recommend a dental plan to where you pick a network, because what you'll find is that there's no dentist in your network. You'll be like, I don't see any dentists, and we can't find any for them. So
dental billing is weird. It's just, I'm not even sure.
Most of the time they'll file it though.
Most of the time, that doesn't really mean much though. So we'll file it for you.
All
doesn't
right.
mean much.
So yeah, we'd love to help you. So and it's, once again, the numbers are the ones that make the decision. I tell my clients all the time. So let's just look at the numbers. And the one way that you can lose with a dental plan or a dental, vision, and hearing plan is if you don't use the plan. That's how the company wins. So if you're paying a premium for your dental, vision, and hearing, a lot of times your cleanings, x-rays, oral evaluations are covered at 100%. Now, what if you're paying, and then, like a lot of clients, including us, we have dental and we don't use it every 6 months, even though we get our cleanings covered every 6 months. We're busy. So if you want to win, use your plan. If you're paying monthly premium, yep.
Thanks for reminding me. I need to schedule my next 6-month checkup.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move it on to long-term care. Do you know what that is?
Yes, it's care for the long term.
It is. It is care for the long term, and the thing about it, the long-term care, is there's also hybrids to where you can do a long-term care with your life insurance or with your annuity or retirement plan. But the one thing that I would always recommend is if you do it as early as you can. We haven't done ours yet.
We have not, but the younger you do it,
the better.
The more affordable it's going to be. If you wait until you're in your senior years, then it can get very, very expensive.
Yeah, 50s, somewhere in the 50s is probably a pretty good time to start looking at it.
Because long-term care also is not covered by Medicare.
Yeah. And on the long-term care side, this is one thing I do know, because I listen to my clients. Most of my clients do not want to go to a facility. They want someone coming to their house. And they're with the long-term care, as long as I think you have to have 2 ADLs, like
What's an ADL, Ernest?
assisted daily living. So
Activity
daily living. That's right. So if you have 2 of the 6, like
bathing, eating, dressing, toileting,
continence, like you control, incontinence. You can't control your bowels or your stuff like that. And then so if you qualify for 2 of those, then your long-term care kicks in, and it will pay whether someone's coming into your house, or they're coming, or you're
Or
going
the
to
facility.
Now, one thing I did learn about long-term care, because we recently placed somebody in a long-term care policy. A lot of people with traditional long-term care are worried that they might spend money and they might never use it. But there's one cool little benefit that a lot of long-term care, or some long-term care policies have, to where they let you spend 25% of the allotted amount to a family member to help take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a neat little way that you can make sure that you get your money back, or get some money back if you do need to use your long-term care. If you want more information, or if you like a quote, obviously that's why we're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
We'd love to help, and quotes are free. So we'll put that together. We'll explain
But long-term care isn't.
No, long-term care isn't. And then we also had a client that took out a long-term care policy on their father.
Mm-hmm.
He was in his 70s, wasn't he? 79.
Are you talking about the annuity?
Or was that an annuity?
Yeah, well, it was an annuity with a long-term care
that's
rider,
right.
so that's an option too, to use an annuity as a vehicle to cover the long-term care expenses by adding a long-term care rider onto it. And the way that works is, again, the activities of daily living. After this person can't complete 2 of these 6 activities of daily living, and it has to be signed off by a doctor, then the long-term care rider kicks in and covers those long-term care expenses. But it's paid for by the annuity, which has been building up over time. So,
Yeah, that well said.
yeah, and it has a multiplier on it too.
Yeah.
2.5 to 3.5 times what the benefit amount is, and that can also be a joint option. So, yeah. Well, we've covered a lot today.
We have. So, and this is our first one. Is there anything you want to talk about before we close this? I'm sure this is going to come up again.
Why don't we end it on something non-insurance related? So, Ernest, why don't you give me, I know you pretty well, I think, but tell me something interesting or like a fun fact about you.
I like to cook. I like to do weird dances sometimes with my family, and we have two little girls, and I play tennis, and I think I'm really proud of the fact that they're starting to be interested in tennis. So both of them are playing tennis now, a couple of days a week, and they're I just saw an explosion in them recently, and that just makes me proud. That's why I work. I want them to be able to live a better life than me.
Our kids did not actually explode.
Their game, their game exploded, and it's just what's something interesting about you? I think I've said enough.
I like to eat. No, just kidding. He likes to cook. I like to eat. And I like to travel and explore places,
Sure.
but do it in such a way to really like understand the culture, and not in a touristy type of way, but maybe not the safest way all the time either, like driving across Costa Rica at 9:00 at night in the pouring down rain in a rental car.
I was really frustrated.
Probably not the best idea.
And we don't speak the language.
Yeah,
and
that was all my
we're
fault.
going through all these small towns. It's dark.
Dogs running everywhere.
There's these bridges that only one car could go on, so you could get trapped if the car in front of you stopped. And it was just, Costa Rica is lovely. So there, we ended up having zero problems. But
Yeah.
if
I won't
my
plan it
family
that
gets
way
hurt,
again.
it's on me. So like everybody's gonna be like, it's on you. It's not anybody else. It's on me. So
Yeah, so I like to travel. I like to read a lot, paperback, like books. I don't like the Kindle or Audible or anything like that. I want a physical book in my hand. And I like 80s music.
No, I like 80s music, but
Better than the 90s. All you 90s music fans. It's just not the same.
Yeah, I'm more 90s probably. Definitely. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, if I had 80s, 90s, definitely
80s is
90s.
way better though.
90s. Well, I think we're just going on tangents.
Yeah, we are. So,
Thank
thank you for tuning in.
Yeah.
We will be back next week with a new episode of the Dear Retirement Podcast. And if you'd like to reach out to us, our phone number is 1-800-615-1440. Our email address is info@dearretirement.com. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
or if you, Lauren at dearretirement.com or Ernest at dearretirement.com. If you have a question specifically for one of us, we'd be happy to help. So, and our team is behind us. I want to take the time to thank you guys. I appreciate both you guys, and we're going to get them on. We're not going to show you guys yet, but we'll get them on here soon. And
they've heard us a little bit in the background.
He'll be in Logan podcast.
Yeah. No, we really appreciate you guys. Guys, we look forward to meeting you or talking to you in the future. Take care.